Hello, I'm Dan, and this is Dan Explains. The video today is going to be a little bit different than one of my usual videos. If you've been watching my videos or follow me on social media, you'll know I have a degree in molecular biology. Well, I was homeschooled after the 4th grade, all the way to graduation. Recently, some people on social media were wondering how a homeschooler goes to college and gets a degree. Well, let me explain how. Before I begin, I'd like to preface that I graduated from college 16 years ago. And since I got a bachelor's, that was a 4-year program, which means it's been 20 years since I went through the college entrance process. So the landscape has no doubt changed since then. Keep that in mind while you watch. Anyway, let's get into it. Today, homeschooling is pretty common practice. If you look at any of the many homesteading channels on YouTube, you'll find that a large percentage of them homeschool. It wasn't always that way. I've got 3 siblings, and my parents decided to pull us all out and start homeschooling in the early 90s because the school was not addressing the concerns they had. Actually, they pretty much blew off the concerns my parents had. One of the reasons homeschooling was so rare back then was because, in most places, there were many more regulatory hoops to jump through. For instance, in my state, a certified teacher needed to sign off on all the curriculum and perform all the tests. Luckily for my parents, they just happened to be friends with one who was willing to help out. The state where my wife, who coincidentally was also homeschooled, grew up, also had similar regulations that her mother was able to meet because her father just happened to be the principal for the school and could sign off on everything. Many states have lifted these requirements over the years, and even more so now since many people were forced to homeschool during the pandemic. Many people worry about homeschooling because they think their kids will be unable to get into college. I found the situation to be the opposite. I figured out what I wanted to do when I was 13 years old. Because I knew what it was I wanted to do, I was able to concentrate on subjects I knew I would be encountering once I went off to university. Because I wasn't tied down to certain subjects I was required to take, like I would have been if I had gone to regular high school at the time. I was able to de-emphasize subjects I knew I wasn't going to need as much, like history and arts. A big irony, considering most people know me for my art. I was able to take my SATs like any high school student would. So that didn't get in the way of applying. SATs being a test that you need to take when you're in the United States for getting into college and things like that. However, being homeschooled, I couldn't get a regular high school diploma. I had to get something called a General Equivalency Diploma, or GED. That's the kind of diploma you expect dropouts to get. You'd think that would have been a disadvantage. However, a GED proves you know at least as much as your average high school graduate, unlike a real diploma, which only proves the school was willing to graduate you. With a lot of schools today, that isn't saying much. Things have probably changed now since homeschooling has gained in popularity. But the university I attended had one additional requirement for homeschoolers to be accepted, and that was an entrance exam. Luckily, the internet was a thing, even back then, so I could take it online. Many people use the social handicap as a reason to not homeschool. First off, there are plenty of homeschooling groups for your kids. Also, in many states, the local public schools are required to allow your kids to participate and use their sports programs and facilities. Now, I've never been much of a social butterfly, and I wasn't into sports, but I didn't have any issues making friends when I went to college. Most of the time, when your kids go to college, they will have to make a whole new set of friends when they get there, regardless of what school they went to or whether they were homeschooled. So it pretty much levels the playing field when it comes to friends. In the later years of homeschooling, my parents switched to an unschooling approach, letting us pick which subjects we wanted and to study them freely. So I did have to adjust a little bit to the schedule of classes, but that was easy. Also, due to being unschooled towards the end, I already had to learn to apply myself without my parents breathing down my neck. So, I was already adapted to being responsible when it came to doing my assignments on time, even without someone over my shoulder. So, all in all, I think being homeschooled gave me an advantage over the other students who attended regular high school. Well, that's my story. Hopefully, it helps parents who are nervous about hampering their children's future prospects. Were you homeschooled? Please share your story below. Thank you for watching. If you like this video, please press the like button. Subscribe to my channel and ding the bell to get notified when I post new videos. Also, please support me on Patreon, link in the description. The more people support me, the more time I can dedicate to making videos like this one. So, until next time, have a great week.